What is going on, Fan Clan? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Danny Phantom. If this is your first time here, thank you very, very much for coming, giving me a chance, checking out the channel. Please consider hitting that subscribe button down below if you like what I have to say. Give it a thumbs up, comment. I love the comments. The comments are awesome. Share this video with your friends. You guys are awesome. At least feel bad for me because I got beat up pretty hardcore tonight. I'd like to tell you that it was some ridiculously awesome and heroic story. Unfortunately, I am going to tell you real quickly what happened because otherwise you'll probably be wondering throughout the entire video why his forehead looks like this. I went to my daughter's school for a parent-teacher consultation and there was some kind of class going on in a conference room, and me being my nosy self just decided that I wanted to look and see what it was because I was like, oh, I wonder what class is going on at this time of night. And I was looking and didn't see this giant wooden column right in front of me, and I just smacked right into it and fell over on the floor, and it was just not a pretty sight. It was pretty, my nose was gushing, my forehead was gushing. I got it all cleaned up. We're okay. So at least give this thumbs up for because you feel bad for me, I guess. If you've been here before and you continue to come back to support me, thank you very, very much. You guys are awesome, and I really, really do appreciate the support, so thank you for that. Today, we are going to talk about scams, fake packs, fake cards, fake booster boxes, because there's a lot going on in the community as far as boxes being tampered with and packs being resealed. And if you are new to the community or you're not sure what to look for in the community when you're buying stuff, I want to kind of give you at least a little bit of an idea so that way you can feel a little bit more comfortable in your purchases, because let's face it, you don't want to get ripped off. And right now, with Pokemon cards pricing at the way that they are, it can hurt really, really bad in your wallet and in your bank account if you buy something and it's not real and it's not legitimate, and then you get no return on your investment. So the first thing is first, be careful who you buy from. I know that there's a lot of great deals on eBay, but if there is a deal on eBay that seems to be like it's too good to be true, it probably is too good to be true. I personally, if you go way back on this channel, because I haven't removed any of the old videos, you will find a listing or a YouTube video where we got scammed as a part of a company that I used to be with, where we bought some booster boxes that we thought were legitimate because we got tipped off by a guy on Twitter who said, oh, these are definitely real. We ended up getting them. It was all messed up. I mean, they were cards from different sets. We opened them and it was a lot of fun. We got refunded, but it was just be careful who you buy from. Buy from a reputable company. Buy from somebody that you trust. Establish that relationship, whether it be us, myself and Papa at the Coliseum. If you go to pkmandcoliseum.com, I do have a lot of inventory coming in very soon, so it's going to be stocked up really well. But if you go to pkmandcoliseum.com, if you trust us, we'll hook you up with a really good deal. All of our stuff we open up from distributors, so I'm very confident that everything that we're opening on this table is legitimate. I'll talk about this booster box in a minute. But definitely buy from somebody that you have purchased from before. You're not going to get scammed by some of these large card dealers or card companies that you find online, because they're not going to rip somebody off and ruin their reputation for a few dollars. It's just not worth it. But people on eBay or people on Facebook Marketplace, it's a little bit more attractive right now, especially with how the market is, for people to take advantage of the situation, especially because of the amount of newer players that are coming into the game, and a lot of younger players who are, or younger collectors who are coming into the game, whose parents may not be as well researched. So one thing that's important to look for, you will see, usually you feel pretty safe with blister packs, but it's not always a sure thing. And unfortunately, there's really no way that you can tell going into a retail store like Target or Walmart and buying one of these off the shelves until you open it up, because this is just glue that's held up on the top of this. And a lot of times what you'll see is there are some videos out there of people opening packs that they bought at a retail store. They'll open them up and they'll be able to tell right out of the gates that there's holes in the top. So whether it's the top of the crimp or whether it's the bottom of the crimp, the thing about the crimp is it should open up in most packs at the top and at the bottom. When people reseal packs, a lot of times they have to either iron or glue all the way down on the edge here or all the way down on the edge here, and that makes the top of this seal stick. So you would have it stick at the top and the bottom, which means that when you lift this portion up, this middle flap up, that a lot of people used to open, it would get stuck. Much like what this Evolutions pack does. So if you look at this Evolutions pack, now this is straight from a box from my distributor, straight from, I'm 100% positive that it's legitimate, but this is actually a set where it does not open up at the top and the bottom. Now I know that this is legitimate, but when you buy stuff from a store like a Burning Shadows pack, or like here's a Rebel Clash pack, so you can see it opens up at the top, it opens up at the bottom. Same thing with this Burning Shadows, which is just a loose pack that came out of an Eternatus box. Opens up at the top and the bottom. And same thing with this Sword and Shield pack. Another thing you'll be able to look for is just holes. Because let's face it, it's tough to open up a pack. So when I open up this pack right here, like, it just rips, right? So it just rips a little bit right there. And then what you want to do, you have to be very, very careful when you open packs. So all they're going to do is they're just going to go right down a seam, and then they're going to glue it back together, or iron it back together in some cases if they're removing the top crimp. So you're going to be able to find possibly holes or different parts of this crimp that are messed up. So the pack condition is obviously a big deal. If you're going on eBay and you're buying stuff, look at the photos carefully. If they're just using stock photos, I would stay away from that buyer, or at least message them and ask them for additional photos, because a lot of people on eBay use stock photos just to make their item look more attractive, when in reality they should not be doing that. Hey, it's a white code. Oh, it's just a Galarian Percussor. Alright, so the other thing you can do is pay attention to the coloring. So here's an original base pack. I'm 100% positive that this is legitimate because this came from our box break that we did on this channel not too long ago. We opened up a bunch of packs from that box. We were pretty certain when we got it in. I would say probably 95% certain that the box was real. But same thing, if you look at the top here, I don't want to damage the pack, but it opens up at the top and it opens up at the bottom. So it's not sealed all the way through. But look at the crimps, pay attention to those. A lot of times when people iron it or people glue them back together, you're going to find bubbles and holes. That's a main factor. A lot of people think that you should pay attention to the coloring. I don't necessarily focus too much on coloring because coloring really is dependent on the light. If you're somewhere in a big retail setting that has a lot of fluorescent lights, or has a POG or a retail planogram that's up against a window where there's some sun beating in, that is severely going to discolor packs or singles over time. So I do have some people every once in a while who message me that purchase some older product and they're wondering why their cards look darker than maybe some of the product that they opened years ago. And the fact of the matter is, well, the product that you opened years ago, those singles have been exposed to light, whereas the ones that are still sealed in the pack have not. So there's going to be some variance there. When you're talking about fake cards, I thought I had a fake one lying around here, but I don't right now. There's a couple different things that you can look at. Number one is obviously how the quality feels in your hand. There's certain weights to every single card. That's why it's not necessarily important to know weights for packs, but it's important to know weights for cards, because just how you feel it in your hands, you'll be able to tell if a card is real or fake, especially when it comes to holographics. It's difficult still to mirror this perfectly, so you will find some blurriness. Blurriness is a big thing to look for, or you will find some, when it comes to an actual card like this, there could be some areas where either like the set symbol or the set number is kind of off just a little bit, or pushed off to the side a little bit. It doesn't line up perfectly because there's multiple layers that go through there. The other thing you can do is you can actually just rip the card in half. So if you open up a pack, you want to rip the energy in half to make sure that the entire pack was real. If you do that, there's actually a bleed for ink that goes throughout the entire thing. So I'll see if I can get this to focus in. You can see the little bleed line right through there. But anywhere you rip it, the ink is going to bleed through on real cards, whereas if it's just a piece of cardstock that they got that weighs close to this amount, it's not going to bleed through perfectly. So that's a way that you'll be able to check out fake cards. Again, light does play a factor, but it's not something that I pay super close attention to. So those are kind of the big things on packs and on singles. Let's talk about boxes for a second. If you're somebody who really wants to get big into the game and look at buying vintage booster boxes, this is where you have to be really careful, because recently there was a scam that went on. I don't want to call it a scam, but there was a purchase that went on with Guru and Dumb Money, where there was a box that was opened and it was clearly resealed, and they didn't know it was resealed until after it was opened, which in a lot of cases, some people are really, really good at resealing these boxes, and it gets more and more difficult to do to be 100% positive. That's why you have to be very careful on who you purchase stuff from, because if you're purchasing something from somebody like a reputable card store or a reputable person, at least you know you're covered. You'll get your money back, or you'll get a different product. Like in Guru's case and Dumb Money's case, they got a different box that was able to give them what they were looking for. Recently, I think on Poker Rev's channel, he opened up a Neo Genesis Japanese box that was resealed and tampered with. It's very difficult when you're first looking at some of these boxes to be able to find if these were tampered with or not. When it gets to some of these older boxes, like this first edition Jungle box, the first thing that you want to do is kind of give it a shake test. The packs want to wiggle around, but you want to make sure that there's no cards sliding out. And you can kind of hear just by shaking around, you're not going to damage the cards. These get shuffled around during transit anyways, but there should be enough shuffling around that you hear the packs hitting against this, but you don't feel any singles hitting up against it. And this is loose enough on the end here that you'll be able to tell if there's multiple singles that are hitting up against it, because they will be sliding out of packs. The other thing that you can do is, it's very important, and this doesn't necessarily damage the box, but it doesn't make it perfect. You can actually push down right here, and you can take a peek inside to see. A lot of times, people who reseal boxes will actually put 2 packs on the top. So like there would be 2 first edition Jungle packs on the top here, and then maybe either a bunch of resealed Jungle packs beneath it, or a bunch of Burning Shadows packs, whatever the fact may be. So what you can do is you can actually shuffle these packs around a little bit, because they're not perfectly tight in here. So the goal would be to get 1 pack onto the other stack. So there's 18 on one side, 18 on the other side. Your goal is kind of to get a 19th pack on this side and maintain 17 packs on this side, so you can see that second pack, which we were able to do. We had a few people look at this first edition box, which made us think that, hey, you know what, this is the box that we're opening on Monday. We feel very comfortable that this is a real box. So we feel very comfortable using that as our box break. But when you peek inside, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it to see for you guys, because it's kind of difficult in the light. But you can see there's green in there. You can see that they're legitimate packs, and that's an important thing to look at. So that's something to pay attention to. You can look at the crimps a little bit at the top and make sure that those look legitimate. And then you can kind of look, like I said, when you shuffle that 19th pack over and you're looking at pack number 2 on the left-hand side or the right-hand side, depending on how you shuffle it. If you see another Jungle pack, that makes you feel pretty good. The other thing to pay attention to is the seal around the box. So the only box that did not have a Wizards of the Coast was first edition base, and then I believe there was another foreign printing after the fact. But after base set, everything's going to have Wizards of the Coast logo stamped onto it, and then everything, let me grab another booster box here. So here's just a beat up team up box. These all have, everything after that has the Pokemon Company logo on it, so you can see that on there, and that goes pretty much around the entire thing depending on how it was cut for the seal. So this box itself has been through the ringer. Obviously, it's been traveling a lot, but it's very, very loose. When a box starts out, it's going to be nice and tight around the entire box. So there shouldn't be a loose wrapper. This kind of got destroyed a little bit with Darkness Ablaze, because there was a lot of loose wrappings on Darkness Ablaze. But if a box is resealed, there shouldn't be any damage to the box if there's no damage to the seal. So if you have a box that's dinged, and the seal is still really tight around it, that means that there was damage done to the box as it was getting resealed. So when you take, if you look up measurements on what a booster box should be, it's like you can look up the set, I forget what it is for Jungle, but you can look up measurements on how wide certain parts of the Jungle box are supposed to be. You can take a ruler and you can bring it down to a 1/16 of an inch, and you can see if a cling wrap would have damaged the box, because when you wrap it tightly, it would actually push the box in a little bit, so you might have damaged corners, or it might be squeezed in a little bit smaller than, like, I think it's like 3 and 15, or 2 and 15/16 inches is what it is, or something like that. So it might be a little bit smaller than that. So that's another important thing to play a factor of. Another thing is, like I said before, reputation is a big thing, so be careful who you buy from. I just want to make sure in my notes here that there's nothing that I'm missing. Images is really important, because if you're buying from somebody who's reputable, they're going to take really good, clear images of the product, because they're going to want to sell you the box. So if you see somebody who's selling boxes that it's like super dark and they're taking kind of sketch photos of it, be very, very careful of that. Make sure you're using timestamps. Anytime you buy older vintage product, make sure you're doing it in person. It's just better to be able to inspect the box first, make sure you're looking at the product. Anybody who's selling a $30,000 box is going to be like, okay, yeah, we should definitely be able to meet in person in order to do this exchange. It's just safer that way. It's more comfortable for not only the buyer, but the seller as well. Like I said, you can push through on this, do the shake test a little bit. Same thing with a lot of the newer sets. The newer sets aren't going to be hit as much right now, but they will start getting hit. Pay attention to the crimps, pay attention to the plastic wrap. It should be very, very tight unless it's been damaged in transit, in which case it could start getting loose. But this jungle box right here is pretty tight. And pay attention to where the saran wrap or the cling wrap is sealed at the edges. It should be nice and clean. There shouldn't be a bunch of like things, I don't know what you would call them, but like this piece here hanging off the edge. So it's definitely things that are important to look for when you're opening stuff up. But yeah, I feel very, very confident about this box. The main thing is just to be careful who you're buying from. That's the most important thing. If you trust them, that's the most important thing. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Questions are good. I have had questions come in saying, hey, you know, this looked to me a little weird. Do you have a reasoning behind why this happened? A lot of times I say something like, honestly, I don't know. This would be something that I would recommend opening a support ticket for, because we didn't even touch this pack. This was sent to us directly from a distributor and then sent to you in that sealed case. The original seal is still on it, so you know that we didn't tamper with it at all. And that's why it's important for us to protect our reputations as much as possible. That's why on our website you see a lot of sealed case options when it comes to things like Champion's Path and other things, because we want to make sure we're protecting ourselves as much as possible. But yeah, a lot of our stuff comes straight from a distributor and then sent to you, so that really, really diminishes the opportunity of a middleman kind of getting in there and opening anything. Be careful who you buy from. That's the big thing. Guys, I hope this was helpful. Pay attention to how much of this stuff has been sold. If you have somebody who sold like 50 base boxes in the last month and a half, that's a little weird. Nobody should really be sitting on that much vintage product unless they're a well-known player in the game. So pay attention to things like that. Images, I said. The pricing, pay attention to the pricing. If it's too good to be true, it probably is. Pay attention to the artwork. In most cases, you can compare stuff with Google image searches. Damage to the box, but a clean wrap is definitely a red flag. Wrapping should be tight and crisp and not loose. A rewrap may also impact the shape and size of the box. The Pokemon logo on everything that's after Nintendo bought it out. Before that, the Wizards logo should be on everything. And then, like I said, the reputation. If you do have any questions, feel free to send us a message. We'll look things over and try and help. There's a lot of great people in the community that also want to make sure that we get rid of all of these resealed boxes and tampered boxes and get them off the market, because we want your investments, your collectibles to be legitimate. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. We'll definitely try and get back to you. Thank you so much. I look forward to opening this bad boy for you guys live on Monday night. Until next time, guys, thank you so much. Feel free to hit that subscribe button down below and hope that I get better with my forehead. See ya.